Hey, how's it going? It hasn't been too long this time. I think it's been like a week since my last video or something like that. And I kind of want to go on a tangent because I've been on this tangent with friends of mine or people in my life in general. And I've mentioned that I've wanted to get a little political in this, in these before. But I think this is a pretty good opener because it's not inherently, how do I say this? It's not too deep, so to say. Maybe it will be. Um, okay, so I'm just gonna start with saying we currently live in like the worst timeline for young people, and I say that because it feels like, as someone I've mentioned before, I'm 21. It feels like I'm constantly being pummeled by something new. Or some issue that's been going on and it suddenly becomes apparent again. Oh my gosh, I am part of a generation who's inherently facing this problem more than any other generation. So go starting out, uh, I had another one of these revelations today. I was looking at apartments because clearly I'm inside of one. I was looking at apartments, and just think about moving, going somewhere else, finding something cheaper, maybe trying to save some money, whatever. And I'm going through apartments, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I live in I live in a pretty cheap apartment compared to literally all the other ones. I I okay, cool. So I start looking at some of the other ones. Maybe we'll eat up another bit of cost. I'm talking about like $200 to $300 differences to be in slightly better neighborhoods, and this is ranging like around like the 1200 1500 range, which I know a lot of people pay, but for one person, it's kind of an egregious amount of money to be paying a month. So I live in a college town, and there's a lot of young people in general. So I'm thinking, man, if I was still in college, it would be fucking impossible to find somewhere I could live by myself. And when I was in college, I remember seeing how fucking expensive it was to live by myself because I had the option. I could have lived on my own, but I didn't because of how outrageous the price was. But it's pretty similar outside of school. Um, Dog, I'm like, it's so bad. I was looking at the cost of apartments, right? And I was like, you know what? I have a couple friends. They live in like double wide, single wide trailers, whatever. I have coworkers who live in double wide, single wide trailers. It's a pretty common thing. I figured, let me look how much that is. I A 2 bedroom, 1 bath apartment in a nice neighborhood might run you $1,400, $1,300, and I live in a really cheap state to live in. A double wide, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, a home, a rent to own situation, $900 a month. You know the difference in the two of them. You're thinking, so why the hell is one that much cheaper than the other and it's a better deal? The difference is who it's accessible to. I'm almost certain the difference is who it's accessible to because I haven't been through the process. I'm just familiar with it. You know, the credit checks, the obvious stigmas of young people not having money or just starting out and stability, whatever. I'm assuming people who rent apartment complexes are more than aware of how it's literally the only option for most people. A lot of those people being young people. A home, on the other hand, you know, most people who are already looking for a home, they're not going to settle for something like that. And I say settle, it's not even a bad thing. It's a great starter thing. I mean, most of the people who I do know are young people who are starting families, and it makes sense for people in that situation. But if you're not in that situation, then it's like, holy fuck, your only option is apartment, and apartments know that's your only option, and so they're going, well, if you don't want to be homeless, just pay more than what you would pay for a home. I'm talking to some of my coworkers about their mortgages. And, I'm talking about money problems because I work a blue collar job. People ask you about tools all the time. When you get this paycheck, are you going to spend it on tools? Such an outrageous question, by the way. No, I'm not spending my whole fucking paycheck on tools. I might, you know what? I've done it before. But I don't do that on a regular basis. And so they ask me, like, hey, you get any tools? I'm like, no. This whole check has to go to rent. What do you mean? I have to pay rent. It can't be that much. I go on. We're all, every one of my coworkers is standing in this room with me. And my bosses are there. And I'm not going to air out how much money I make. I'm going to say how much I pay in rent in comparison to some of them. They all went around saying how much they paid. And when it came to me, because when I was hearing their amounts for their mortgages, for their homes, I'm thinking, what the fuck? Because it's either only $200 more than what I'm paying myself, or it's like $200 to $300 less than what I'm paying for their mortgage on their home they'll own for their 3-bed, 2-bath house in a suburb. One of them's mortgage is only $200 more than mine, $200 or $300 more than mine, and they have acreage. They have land. They live kind of out there. 3-bed, 2-bath. Only slightly more expensive than what I'm paying. When they heard how much I paid for rent in comparison to them, it made them sick. And this is to say, I'm an apprentice. I make a little less than what they do. I say a little less, I make half of what some of them make. So then to say, I pay more to have somewhere to live than people making nearly double what I make, suddenly makes sense why I'm not buying tools with every paycheck. Or I'm a little more frugal with my money. Because this is the thing too, is we're not really taught to budget in school. So that's something you just have to figure the fuck out. And I've figured it out. I'm doing pretty well for myself. The issue is that a lot of people don't know how that goes. And straight out of high school, they manage to rack up debt and loans and all kinds of things. Don't even get me started on the college conversations, because we're going to have that conversation. It's crazy how rigged against young people the current system is. And it just feels that way. Because, this is the thing. Is older people go, well, everyone struggles at first. Everyone has to go through their period. Whatever. Until I start hearing conversations of, oh yeah, I got my first job in the trades. And then a year later, I bought a home, I bought a car, I got married. What? Excuse me? You bought a home. You bought a house, or you bought a house and a car. What do you mean? It was that easy? and this would be talking to like somebody obviously who's a lot older, someone who's like pushing 70 or something. But like, what do you mean that's what you did? Or even then, talking about someone who's like 60 something years old, they went to college, and they're chatting you up about how they went to college. Oh yeah, I remember college. Graduated 4 years, whatever. I managed to work through school, pretty average. It sounds like the average young person experience. And then they go, yeah, tuition was probably $150 a semester. Had to take like 4 classes a semester, and then I was done. I was at a mid-tier college. My tuition alone was like $7,000. Not including my housing costs. My housing was like $4,000. What the fuck are we talking about? And this is a year. I think it's split up. I think it's like a semester would be like 6,000, and then a year would be like 12. What the fuck are we talking about? Work your way through school? You're telling me you'd have to work a full-time job, and every single penny would have to go through college for you to work through school. And I know that's not how it usually goes, because guess what? People have car payments. People have grocery costs. People have book costs. People have. I mean, you have to. I mean, you have to live somehow, right? You don't just work through college, and then not to mention the whole like they took 3 or 4 classes a semester, and now people have to take 6 or 7 classes a semester. And then there's so many prerequisites, and then there's internships, and then it's like the requirements have skyrocketed. The cost to actually go has skyrocketed. The how do I say this? The demand, like the amount that they ask of you, is egregious compared to what it used to be, and I understand why. I get the premise is that you're supposed to get better with every generation, blah blah blah. But is there a fucking limit? Because at this point, how much more qualified can somebody be for some of these jobs, especially seeing as they're literally bumping shoulders with the same motherfuckers who took 4 fucking classes a semester, studied like 40 years ago, and I mean, like, their education was not even, the entirety of it wasn't half what a semester was for some of the younger people. Yet still, it's hard to get these jobs because they don't have the experience, and every job wants you to have years of experience before you can even touch it. So you have to work for pennies and nickels while in tens of thousands of dollars in debt, making nothing for a couple years before you can touch what someone who studied for, I don't know, $3,000 total, $2,000 total, and got a job making equivalent 40, 35 bucks an hour right out of fucking college. That just doesn't happen. Sure, for some individuals it does, but for most people, that just doesn't happen. In any way, in any trade, anything. Like, you're not going to find anything where you're just making that much money an hour already off rip, except for like maybe a paramedic. It's so dumb. It makes zero sense. And yet, I still hear all the time, like, oh, you just need to budget your money better. Oh, you just do this. You just do this. And it's like, holy fuck, you really have zero idea what it's like. One of my coworkers, he was telling me, like, he was trying to explain to me how to budget out my checks. But, like, buddy, I'm well aware of how not to fuck myself on a month-to-month basis. There's not going to be a way for me to have $1,000 in free money just to spend every month, regardless of how much I budget. That's just not possible. Because do I live comfortably? Absolutely. I pay my rent. I have groceries every week. I take care of my dog. I don't my car is good. I can pay for car maintenance. Every once in a while, if a random bill comes up, I can pay it. All my intangible stuff, I'm good. I've found a good balance. The thing is that you expect me to be able to do things that you were able to do when you were younger, even though it's gotten significantly more difficult to do those things now. And you're blind to it because it doesn't affect them. And this is the thing too with any of these conversations is people only wait to care about shit once it starts affecting them. This whole complaining about gas prices thing, I have to pay them too. But motherfucker, I've been railed for years as a young person. I've faced these situations. The housing crisis hit places like where I live, apartment complexes and things of that nature, so bad with prices raising because they know that it's people's only option. Homes in general for young people, or homes in general, have gotten so expensive. It's so hard for young people starting families to find somewhere safe to live. It's like you are complaining about this shit and suddenly looking for some type of legislation and what politician fucked up. But this has been going on. It's just it's only now affecting you. Now, how about I suggest to you take a shorter route to work every day, or you don't take as many trips to the grocery store every day, or you don't have your yearly vacation every year, or you don't have your yearly vacation cross country drive that you do every year because you don't need it and you will save gas money that way. This is the thing is like there's so many, oh, you just do this, oh, you just do this. And these motherfuckers, it's like when I tell people that, I have political conversations with people and I'm very blunt about it. They say they're complaining about whatever, they're stating their political stance. And then I ask them, did you vote? And they go, no, I didn't. I didn't think it'd make a difference. Respectfully, shut the hell up. I'm just blatant, flat out, shut the hell up. Because if you are in my age range, a 21-year-old, you didn't vote in the last election, and you are equally upset as I am, you have no right to be. I know you're getting fucked over. I understand you're getting fucked over. But you didn't do anything about it. While some of us young people were swinging our fists up there trying to make something happen, which I say all that to dramatize it, but all it fucking took was getting up and going to the local polls and voting. It didn't take 30 minutes. You go, vote, and then it's done. You didn't do that, even though it was easy. Even though maybe it didn't make a difference. Maybe your vote wouldn't have made a difference. I hate that shit too, because you're saying my vote didn't make a difference because your party didn't win is so dumb. Because the numbers still went up, and that's a difference. The number of people who voted in that way still changed, and that's the difference. Regardless of whether or not you got the result you wanted. But they don't think that way. A lot of people my age just don't think that way. Oops, sorry, I bumped the mic. A lot of people my age just don't think that way. I went out and I voted. I can complain because things didn't go the way I'm just going to say it. Things didn't go the way I wanted them to, and I'm upset about it. Especially as someone who's 21 years old in the United States, living by myself, currently trying to make a living. A blue-collar individual. Let's max it out. It's upsetting. And I try to do something about it. I got fucked over. Now I can complain. You didn't try to do anything about it, though. You were warned. You knew everything that would happen because apparently you're so well informed on the issues, but you didn't vote. Shut the hell up. You knew everything that could have potentially happened, and you could have done something about it, and you chose not to. Boo-hoo. Anyway, I think I'm going to call that the end of my tangent. I'm right at my 20-minute mark. I'm going to talk about these kind of issues a little more often, maybe do some research and come with some numbers. But seriously, if you, in my opinion, the only way to redeem yourself at this point, if you chose not to vote, is vote next time, vote in your local elections, and do what you can for your community. Posting shit on Instagram is not, how should I say this, is not it doesn't do anything. Reposting a political opinion doesn't do anything. Like, try and get involved. Make a difference. Anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for always listening to my little tangents, even if they only sometimes make sense. Let me know what you want me to talk about next, or if there's any kind of topic of this nature that you want to hear me talk about. Yeah, thank you for listening. Have a great rest of whatever period of time is left on whatever scale of time you operate on. For me, it's nighttime, so I'm going to say have a good night. Take it easy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.